I've just returned after 2 weeks in Israel. I had a chance to report from the front lines of the Gaza Strip and different other places that were among the worst affected on October the 7th. One of the persons on the front lines of Israel's battle to convince the world and to remind the world not to forget what happened on October the 7th is Israel's ambassador to India. And he joins me now here for an exclusive interview on India Today. Ambassador Naur Gilan, thank you very much for speaking to India Today. It's been nearly a month, sir, since the attack. What has this month been like? I want to ask you that first straight out.
Yeah, first of all, there are two levels. There is the professional and the personal one. What transpired on October 7 in Israel is something unprecedented. So we had terrible bus bombings where body parts were there, but this cruelty of human beings, human animals, is something that we never saw. So there is a shock, but also the numbers, the figures. I mean, 1,400 people dead. It's like if you compare to India, it would be like in these 10 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours, like more than 2 lakh people were murdered. That's the number. So everyone knows someone, and the shock of the abduction, the atrocities that were done, rape and decapitating and whatnot, but also the people who were abducted, kidnapped. We have the pictures here around us. And, it's a big shock. So it goes from the fact that in the embassy we had 2 people who first cousins were killed in the party, and one in the party, one in the military, in the first wave. And everyone knows friends and the other side of it becomes the personal one. Because my wife is in Israel now visiting to be with my 4 kids and my 5 grandchildren to help them. My youngest daughter is in military service. One of my sons was recruited into reserves. So, it's also on the personal level when I know that they run to the shelter every 3-4 times a day. They live around Tel Aviv area. 3-4 times a day they might be running to the shelter. My father lives in Rishon, which is not far, Rishon LeZion, not far from Tel Aviv, much targeted. He's almost 90, 89. And, he has to run to the shelter. My in-laws, it's a very, very busy, very emotional, but we are strong.
The sense I got, and I completely agree with you, Ambassador, that virtually everyone we spoke to in our 2 weeks in Israel, had a personal story to tell, either one of loss or one of suffering, or knowing someone who was directly affected or someone who was recruited into the reserves. 5 days before I left from Israel, the ground operation, the highly anticipated ground operation began, sir. It's a very deliberate, slow-moving ground operation, at least from our perspective, because we've seen how things have turned out before. From your perspective, and I'll come to the diplomatic aspects a little later, I just wanted to get the operational parts talked about first. How do you assess how that's going? Because it's the defense minister of Israel has said it's going to be a long and hard battle.
First of all, the target that we're put, people see this, what happened, another skirmish between Israel and Hamas. No. What happened is that on the October 6th, Friday evening, we went to sleep, and we had Hamas as our neighbor, and we woke up Saturday morning after the attacks when we have ISIS as the neighbor. And where we thought that probably the main failure, I think, of the conceptual failure of Israel was to try and see Hamas as a reasonable, responsible, to a certain extent, player. So we thought, our thinking was that with the dual containment, if you do the military deterrence, the fear that we will go in and like happening now, and improve their lives, we will give them enough incentives not to deal with us. That was the thinking, and that's why we failed. That once this failed, because we didn't understand that they are at the end of the day, the ideology is much stronger than caring to their population or showing the population they can supply them with better lives, because life was getting better. We allowed tens of thousands every day to go to work in Israel. This brought a lot of money, a lot of materials and products and everything went in. Look how the Gaza Strip was before that. I mean, cars and equipment and everything was there. So you understand that it was a total failure, and that brings, for the first time, the cabinet put as a directive to eliminate the regime of Hamas in Gaza and to eliminate capabilities to reenact such actions and to bring back the hostages, which is the other So it's going to be long because the definition of the task is very big. Because when you have ISIS, like the Americans did in Iraq and other places, when you have ISIS, the only way to eradicate, you cannot eradicate the ideology. It's in the hearts or in the minds of people. You can either catch them, capture them, jail them, kill them, or make them run away. That's what happened also with Americans. And this is a very hard task, especially when the Hamas is hiding behind human shields. Now we have double. In the past, always they had human shields, their own population. And when Israel, in the 3 weeks, more or less, before the ground operation, since the October 7, we tried to do any effort to advise the population in the north, because we knew we were coming in the north. So we gave them a warning also to Hamas to know that we will start in the north. It's a little bit risky, but we did it in order to help population. And we told them, go south, go south. Hamas was threatening them not to go south. And some did, many stayed. And now we are in a war where we have civilian population as human shields and also the kidnapped as human shields. So it's very slow because it would be very easy to bomb everything from the air and, you know, regardless of the casualties. But if you want to do a chirurgical thing that you kill as little as possible bystanders, as many as possible terrorists, it has to be done by ground, and they are underground in the tunnels anyhow. So they are hiding under the population now. And this is very complicated, and that's why the target that was put is very ambitious or very deep. And in order to prevent casualties or to minimize casualties, you have to go very slowly and do it very carefully.